Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I'm super excited to be here because I'm going to make a card with you tonight. Tonight I'm going to be making a card using the patterned papers from the Comfort and Joy collection from Close to My Heart. I'm also going to be using the Stamp and Thin Cuts Comfort and Joy from the card making set. However, I'm not going to be using the thin cut today. I'm just going to be using the stamp. So I'm also going to be using some black cardstock. I've got a card base, and I'm going to be embossing my sentiment today. So without further ado, let's get started. My card is measured out to 5.5 by 4 1/4, just a standard white card. I've already got some of my papers measured out. I'm going to be using black cardstock for the back, the base, and this really nice solid black cardstock is measured out to 5.5 by 3 1/4 because I want it to fit the exact length and width of the card. Now, since I already cut it out, you can tell that there's a white core to the cardstock, so I'm just going to go ahead and buff that out with some black ink really quick. So I'm going to go ahead and use my black ink, and I'm going to use a sponge dauber to go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and get some ink on this bad boy and ink the edges. That way it kind of erases the white core. Not saying that the white core is bad, but I want this to look as solid as possible. Super easy remedy. So go ahead and do that. Perfect. So now, a little bit on the edge. So now it looks definitely more solid. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close that up because I am notorious for running my hands and my elbows and my arms all over the ink. So that's that. Put this away. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use my adhesive runner to adhere this to my card base. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a nice distribution of adhesive on each side. I'm going to go ahead and put this on my card back. Make sure that it covers all the corners and the edges nice and neat. Go ahead and put that down. Awesome, we're all set. Okay, I'm also going to use the scarlet and black patterned paper from the same, the same Comfort and Joy package. Now, the cardstock is double-sided, so this side I'm going to go ahead and use the scarlet and black, but if you wanted to use the holly leaves and the pretty needles and the little berries, you could, but today we're focusing on this. So I've measured this paper out to 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So it's going to give it a little bit of a border. It's not going to be too thick of a border, but I still like the way that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the black background. I love using these tape runners. They're so easy and so quick, and they're already tacky, so they're ready to rock and roll. You don't have to wait for the glue to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on there. Make sure all of my edges match, and there we go. Awesome. Now, I'm going to also use the poinsettia paper from the Comfort and Joy patterned paper stock. I really like this. There's the scarlet and candy apple red flowers. You've got the white and French vanilla flowers. You've got the different shades of greens, and then the glacier, which is a nice pop. My favorite part of this whole set is that they're incorporating black into the paper. So there's so many things you can do with this, but I really like this. I actually measured this paper to 2.5 by 5 3/8. It's going to go in the corner and it's going to match the edges nice and neat. So you're still going to get the black border, as you can see, but you're going to have the red peeking out, which is really cute. So I'm going to go ahead and add my adhesive here. Now this side had the black and red and white plaid. How cute is this? I I'm going to be definitely using this pattern paper for other Christmas cards because I really like that. Really fun. I may have to do a video on that. Reminds me of the old plaid pants I used to wear back in the 90s. Totally, no doubt, very fun. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to my scarlet background. Make sure it matches so that the black border is peeking through. Awesome. There we go. Voila. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and start working on the sentiment. For that, I'm going to be using my embossing gun. I'm going to be using some Versamark ink, some black embossing powder, and the stamp from the Comfort and Joy card making kit. So check this out. These are the stamps that it came with. I've chosen to use Deck the Halls. I think this is really pretty because I think the little needles match this really well. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off. I've not used this set yet, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the stamp. I'm also going to remove the foam backing because this is going to give it a nice little sponge as I'm stamping. This makes sure that I get an even distribution of ink. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a acrylic block. I'm going to put this bad boy on there like so. I'm going to season my stamp because it's not been used yet, and when you get it brand new there's kind of a tack to the stamp and it's not going to actually hold the ink well. So seasoning the stamp will make sure that you get an even distribution of ink and it's not going to leave any splotchy marks when you put the ink down. The image down. So without further ado, we're going to get into the embossing. Now, I'm using Versamark. This is a very clear tacky ink pad. I'm going to be using black embossing ink. And before I start anything, I'm also going to be using my little pillow. This takes off any static from the paper and makes sure that I get an even image on my paper without the powder going everywhere, and then I'm embossing designs I didn't even mean to emboss. So before I go ahead and do that, I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to stamp the image on French vanilla cardstock, but I'm also going to use this really cute thin die that I have from the shaker window and confetti set. Now I like this stitched circle. I don't have a stitched circle die, so I actually use this quite frequently in all of my card making. I think it's a nice die. Now I'm also going to use black cardstock as well because I want to use the middle part in French vanilla and I want my border to be black. So I'm going to use both and stamp, I'm going to die cut it once. Easy peasy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of washi tape. This is really great tape. If you can find the edge, it's perfect. I got this stuff at Michael's. This is awesome, but it's nice, lightly tack, so it keeps your stuff where you need it to stay. So I'm going to go ahead and put these two together so it doesn't move when I run it through the die cut machine. Of course it has to be black, so I can't find the edge. This was a game changer. I'd never used washi tape before this year, and I love it because it helps hold my dies down when I'm trying to stamp, so it's awesome. Let me move this just a wee bit so I don't get... There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and place the image down because I want it to have the image cut through the paper like so. So I'm going to go ahead and also tape this down to the black. Oops. And this one as well so that it doesn't slide. Since I'm using two papers, I want to make sure that the die cut doesn't slide and I get an even cut all the way around. So I'm going to cruise over here to my Sizzix Big Shot. I'm going to run it through. It's just a really cute, well, it's very heavy. I'll show you real quick, but it's just a die cut machine. I'm sorry, it's kind of a crummy view, but this is my machine. I'm gonna put this between the plates and run it through real quick. And hopefully I will get a nice even cut so I don't have to cut twice. And I'm gonna hear it click. Through one more time, hear it click again. Bing, pow, all done. Awesome. See? And then I will get the shapes that I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove my washi tape. And by the grace of all that's holy, bada bing, bada bing. Look at this. Oh, I lost my white. It's still on the plate. So I've got the white border and the white circle and the black border and the black circle. Pretty rad. I can actually use the white border for something else, and I can use the black circle for something else. This would look really pretty with white embossing powder or gold or silver. It would be really awesome for another project, but that is for another time. So yeah, this is pretty rad. I like this. Now, as you can see, it's got the stitched pattern around it. Very cute. I really like this. And when I place it on top of the white circle, it'll give it a nice border. So I'm gonna put this away. Thank you, Big Shot. I appreciate you. Okay. So back to my stamping. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the foam that comes with every stamp set from Close to My Heart comes with one of these. Now, I didn't use these initially because I really didn't know what they were for, but once I started using these when stamping, boy, it really helped get a nice even distribution of ink on everything that I was stamping. So ever since then, I've been using them. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this down on my paper. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the Deck the Halls image that we had seasoned earlier, and I'm gonna lightly pounce it in my Versamark. Now this is very tacky. There's no color to it, it's very clear. So I'm gonna make sure that I get a nice even distribution of the Versamark on here. Oh, and before I forget, because I'm gonna be using embossing powder, I definitely wanna have something behind it to collect all the powder because the powder can be kind of messy. Now, definitely don't want to be running a fan while you're using this. I learned that the hard way. But it's all fun. Learning is good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get a nice amount of Versamark on this. Sometimes I go overboard, but hey man, I'd rather have more than not enough. Okay. Now, I'm going to go, oops. Oh my gracious. One thing. This is an anti-static pouch. Okay, it's just a little pillow full of powder. Now, you can use talcum powder if you'd like, but I got this from Close to My Heart. It's a Ranger product. It actually works very, very well. Before using any sort of embossing product, you want to make sure that you use this on the surface that you're embossing on because it's going to ensure that you don't have any other wayward little sticky doos on your project that you don't want there before you emboss it. So without further ado, we're going to grab the little pillow and rub it nicely across the paper. Make sure you get a nice even distribution of the powder. It may not seem like much, but believe me, it's a game changer. It really is. Took me a long time to learn how to emboss. And it was a lot of mistakes and a lot of messes, but as long as I remember the sequence of the powder, the Versamark, and then the powder, I'm all good. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and add this to my circle. Very nice and even. Give it a nice little press. Now, this acrylic block is not a Close to My Heart item. I actually got these from Michael's. It's a recollection item. Oh, no, pardon me. This is a Fisker's item, but it works just the same. The only problem is it's kind of thin, so if you're using it with ink, you might get some ink on your fingers or on the surrounding edges. So you want to make sure to clean it off. Okay, I've got a nice stick. I'm going to peel that off. I don't know if this is visible or not, but you can see Deck the Halls on there. Okay, before it dries, I'm going to remove the foam backing and remove my Versamark and cover it, because I too have made a mistake with the Versamark by blowing ink on it. I'm sorry, the powder on it and getting it in there, and that wasn't a good thing. So here's my powder. Go ahead and dump quite a bit on here. I'm not going to be greedy with the powder. I'm just going to throw it on here, cover it up. I'm going to go ahead and tap it off. Now, it is possible to get a little bit of powder where you don't want it to. So what I like to do is grab a very thin paintbrush and clean off the edges where I don't want the embossing powder to be before I use the gun. Because if I use the heat gun on an area where there's embossing powder, it's going to melt the embossing powder in an area I didn't want it. And I would not be happy with that, and I'd have to start all over again, which I've had to do many, many times. So just lightly do that. Sweet, all done. Now, also, you want to clean up your powder before you use the embossing gun, because otherwise the embossing gun blows air and it will blow the powder everywhere, and it would not be a good thing. You'll have powder everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this back into the container. Awesome. Okie dokie. That is that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and use my embossing gun. It's all ready to rock and roll. So let's check this out. I love embossing because I love seeing how it comes out. I love seeing when the embossing powder melts and it makes the awesome decoration. So cool. So here we go. Come on, powder. Now you definitely want to take your time with this. I know it's very tempting to kind of rush through this, but you want to make sure that the powder is all melted. And definitely take care of your fingers, because this heat gun is super duper hot and you will burn yourself. Don't want to have any accidents while making your cards. I love the look of embossed powder. I love, love, love this. It gives it more of a dimension versus the ink, where ink is kind of flat and there isn't really anything happening with the ink, but with the embossing, it gives it more of a raised image. So very, very pretty. All right. Ah! Cool. Check it out. Nice and shiny. Love it. Now, because there's some open spots on this little leaf, I can choose to color it in, or I don't have to, but it's completely up to you whether you choose to color in your little images. But I think I'm going to leave this one blank, only because I think it might look nicer that way. So that's that. And if you can see, it's going to look really pretty with the black background. Of course, something's going to fall, and I don't know what fell, but that's okay. Okay, so it looks as though this is going to be perfect. However, I want a little bit more of a pop on it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use the other part of the shaker window set that it came with. Now, there's just a plain die here, and this will just cut out a plain circle. I think that would look nice to adhere the white on. Now, you're not going to see the black circle, but because I want more of an even distribution, going on, I definitely think that will work in my favor. So I'm going to go ahead and do this really quick. I'm going to put the ridges down on the paper, add a little washi tape, because this will give me a chance to make sure everything is even. And also, I decided that I want to use foam tape, so it's going to be hard to, for me anyways, to put foam tape on this. But if I have it on on the background, it's going to be easier for me to put the foam tape on. So I'm going to go ahead and run that through my die cut machine real quick. Now it's okay, like if you don't have everything measured out right away, because with me, I eyeball everything. I don't normally measure things. I just grab and go. I don't ever have a plan when I card make, because that's where my best creations come from. I can't just look at somebody's design and make it my own without tweaking it a little bit. And that's okay. It gives me something to start with. Okay, so there's my little circle I'm going to go ahead and use. Okay, so I know it isn't a big deal. It doesn't look like a big deal, but trust me, it's going to make all the difference. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add. Now, this is where I add the glue. I could use the adhesive runner for this, but I'm going to use some Tombow glue for this, because I find it's a little hard to use an adhesive roller with such a small border. It just seems like overkill to me. I don't know, it doesn't match. But anywho, so I like using Tombow glue. This is a glue that I've been using for years. I put the date on it when I get it, because then I know how long I've had it. Got this in April. I use this very sparingly, but it works wonders, except when it's clogged. You definitely want to make sure that it's not clogged. You definitely want to squeeze lightly. Come on. Oh, now it's going to be finicky. Is it plugged? I do believe so. That's okay. I'm going to use my little poker thing here that I've got and just clean out the tip. It's like it's like the plug in a mustard, you know. If you don't clear the mustard plug and you go to squirt it on your food, all the mustard comes out and then it's just a mess. Same idea. You don't want a mustard mess on your cards. There we go. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue all the way around. That was a band in the 90s, grunge band, mustard plug. That's funny. Okay, see, a little bit will go a long way, let me tell you, because this glue is awesome. You don't need to add a whole lot. You're not painting the Sistine Chapel, you're adding glue. So you want to make sure that your edges match, and because this is a black background, I'm going to go ahead and grab a white piece of paper just to make sure. Awesome sauce. Okay, now, again, because the edges are still white, I'm going to go ahead and use the black ink and the sponge again to make sure that I have black edges. Not that serious to most people, but to me, I want black edges. Now, I very well could have done the middle circle, but because I'm going to be using a white inside, I don't think it's that serious. I like making everything look nice and neat. All right, circle, where do you end? All right, so there we go. Okay, so that is done. Now we're gonna adhere the Deck the Halls into the middle of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my adhesive. Okay, white paper, you can go. Awesome. Now, sometimes I get a little bit of the adhesive on the edges. I do have this really cool little tool. It's an adhesive remover eraser. It's this weird gummy, I don't even know. It feels like, it's just strange. But anyways, you can take off the excess adhesive from the edges if you need to. You can also use it with washi tape, because sometimes washi tape will leave a little bit of a residue. So you can just use that on anything that you're using. It's great. Awesome. I'm just going to put this inside the die like so. A bing pow. Look at that. Awesome. Deck the halls. Rad. Okay, so my idea, I'm going to bring my card back. I'm going to put it in the middle because I like the way that looks. A lot of people will put it down here and have something up here, but I'm kind of OCD in the fact that I like things to look kind of uniformed. So I'm going to put this right in the middle. Now, if you choose, you can also put a border of some really pretty ribbon here. I do have some red sparkly ribbon that could look pretty, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and go with this. Oh, I don't know. Do I want sparkly ribbon? I don't know. Oh, decisions. I think I'm just going to, oh, you know what? I think I'm just going to go with this and add some bling for now. It's all good. See what I mean? I have decisions and then I change my decisions and then I make other decisions, and it's all about the process. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flip my image over, and I'm going to use some foam tape. Now, Close to My Heart does offer the foam tape in different packs, different sizes. I just got this from the Dollar Tree. It works actually very, very well. I cannot complain. It does what it needs to do. I'm going to go ahead and use this and cut to match. Now, I've seen people actually go ahead and rip the foam tape apart, but I've tried that and I don't know, maybe I'm cursed. I don't know why it doesn't rip nicely for me, but it just doesn't. So I use scissors. To each their own, right? Now, sometimes I go a little gung-ho on the foam tape just because I want to make sure that it doesn't. I'm going to put a strip in the middle just because I don't want it to like concave in the middle. Perfect. Okay, easy peasy. So you're just going to want to remove the backing from the foam tape. There's little strips. Set them aside. Make sure you throw them away because you'll find them later in your living room or stuck to your pants or on the bottoms of your shoes, in your chair. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place this right about here. I think that's pretty. Oh, you know what? It's a little bit off. Now, this is where I start getting technical because to most people who wouldn't see that, I see it and it bugs me. There we go. Perfect. Deck the halls. Yeah, so pretty. Now, I've decided I actually am going to color that in because I think it could use a pop of color. So I'm going to go ahead and use an ink. I believe this is avocado, which I do not have, but I do have New England ivy, and that's too dark. Oh dear God, what am I going to do? I do have a marker that could work. That could be kind of pretty. Yeah. This is just a Tombow marker. I get these from from Michaels. This is color 177. It doesn't actually tell you what the color is. I wish it did because it would be less frustrating. But I like this color, so I'm going to go ahead and color in the little leaves so it gives it a little bit more of a pop. And it's great because with the embossing ink, you really can't make a mistake because it makes a nice thick border. Yay, so pretty. So pretty. Okay. Now, it seems kind of flat, right? It looks like it needs a little something. So I'm gonna actually use a shimmer pen. I love these. This is a shimmer pen from Close to My Heart. This is the clear shimmer, and it's got a brush tip, and it paints like a paintbrush, but inside of it, it's got really pretty little glittery shimmers. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this on the black just to give it a little bit of a shimmery sparkle, because I think shimmer on everything looks so, so, so pretty. And I think glitter on black is amazing. I'm not a glittery person in real life, but when it comes to my art, I believe a little bit of sparkle goes a long way. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. Sparkle. I can. It looks pretty. Now, with different cardstocks, the shimmer pen might take a little bit more time to dry. So you definitely want to set it aside. I think I'm going to go ahead and hit this with the embossing gun just to make sure that it dries before I touch it. Get one more round. I have to cap my glue. I'm going to go ahead and hit this real quick just to make sure that it dries. Awesome. So there's that. Now, I still think it needs a little something. So, what Christmas card can't benefit from a little bling? Really? So I'm going to add a little bit of these bitty sparkles. I think these are perfect sized. And they will add some really cute bling without going overboard. You can really have some fun with these little blings. So the easiest thing I've learned is to just slide them off with your nail onto whatever project you're working off. If you try and pick them off individually, there's a great chance that you could leave the adhesive background stuck to the acetate, and then what's the point? So go ahead and slide this off. And you can add as much bling as you want or as little bling as you want. I think I want a lot of bling. It's a Christmas card. It needs to be sparkly and shiny and glim and blingy. Oh, I got too crazy with this. So I'm going to just pick this off real quick and move it. Oh. There we go. How about right here? I think that would look so pretty right there. Again, it's weird when you're trying to do this on video, and normally I just eyeball things, but as I'm seeing it, I definitely want to make sure everything kind of looks cohesive. All right, let me see. Do I like that? I'm going to move this one down. Now, it's a lot about eyeballing. I mean, do whatever makes you feel happy. Sometimes it takes me forever to place the bling because I'm super duper duper meticulous with how I add things. And then sometimes it takes me forever. But there we go. Deck the halls. Super fun. Anyways, I'm sorry I haven't been in to make more videos. I actually went back to work in October, so I've been super busy trying to get all that stuff done, and with the whole COVID thing, just trying to navigate through this whole time has been a little bit difficult, but I'm trying to definitely schedule my card making and video making in for you guys, because I haven't forgotten, and I do appreciate each and every one of you that takes the time to watch these, and hopefully I will inspire you to create some art of your own. If you guys have any questions on anything that I make, or if you have any questions about some of the products that I'm using, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm always here to answer your questions. Or, you know, I really would like to start making card kits. So if you guys are interested in the card kits, let me know. I do sell some of the cards that I make, so once I actually get quite a surplus going, if you guys are interested in what I'm making and want to purchase one, you're more than welcome. Just follow my Facebook page. I usually post the items that I finished making on there. So, yeah, without any drama, just go ahead and ask. Don't be shy. I'm always here to help. All right, well, have a wonderful evening. I hope you like the card. I know I kind of chit-chat a little bit quickly, but it's Sunday and I want to eat my dinner and watch my show. So have a wonderful evening, and I hope to hear from you guys. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.